Manor Lords does an amazing job of balancing simplicity and complexity to help create an incredible city builder experience, and you can tailor that experience even further by selecting one of the 3 pre-existing game scenarios. The first and most basic scenario template is Rise to Prosperity, which tasks players with reaching the large town settlement level. And if you're wondering how exactly to meet that end goal as quickly and efficiently as possible, then this guide is for you. There are several different milestones you have to reach in order to raise your settlement level. At the top of the game screen, you will see the name of the village. Hovering over the name of the village will bring up the menu that shows exactly what needs to be done to reach the next settlement level. When you first begin the game, you will be a settler's camp, which is the base starting settlement level. From there, you will progress to a small village by building 5 level 1 or higher burgage plots. This one is relatively easy, but just make sure you don't go overboard and end up accidentally killing off your villagers by building too quickly without having enough food or fuel. From there, you will need to get to the medium village level, which can be done by upgrading at least 2 burgage plots to level 2 or higher. Getting the level 2 burgage plots isn't as easy as just upgrading them once you have the materials, as you will also need to meet the villagers' requirements. The requirements include water access via the well, a church for faith, and several different stalls in the marketplace, namely one for fuel, one for clothing, and 2 stalls with different types of food. Clothing stalls can be made up of either leather, linen, or other clothing items such as shoes or cloaks. But the easiest to obtain so far is leather, as you just need to use hides from a hunting camp in order to create the leather at a tannery. You can also trade for leather, but that can get expensive very quickly, so it's best to produce it on your own. Once you reach the medium village status, your next step will be a large village. This can be done by leveling 5 burgage plots to level 2 and having at least 10 level 1 burgage plots in the settlement. This one is pretty easy, since you already meet the requirements for the level 2 plots, you just need the materials. To get to small town from large village, you will need at least 10 level 1 burgage plots, which you should already have, at least 7 level 2 burgage plots, and at least 3 level 3 burgage plots, which means you will need to meet more requirements from the villagers. They now will require a steady supply of ale to the tavern. The church needs to be upgraded to a stone church rather than the wooden one, and 3 different food types in the marketplace are now needed instead of 2. There will also need to be 2 different clothing types in the marketplace, where previously you only needed 1. The food requirement is the easiest, so let's tackle that first. You can either upgrade some of the burgage plots to curate their own food items, such as chicken eggs or vegetables, or you can utilize farmland to grow wheat that you can send through a windmill to turn into flour, then bake into bread. This is an easy way to get all the 3 food types that you need. As for the ale, this one is going to be very difficult if you don't have good fertile soil to plant barley every season. Then you need to set up a malt house to turn the barley into malt, and then upgrade at least 1 burgage plot to a brewery in order to turn the malt into ale. Then you can supply the tavern. If you don't have the right soil, the easiest way to keep a stream of barley coming to the malt house will be trading and importing it. This is costly, so make sure the townspeople are either selling a good amount of items within the marketplace, or you are exporting goods that you have a decent stockpile of to bring more money to the town. You can also put a development point into better deals, which will drastically lower the price of imports. Lastly, they will want 1 more clothing stall within the marketplace, so you now need 2 types of clothing rather than 1. This can be done by turning some of your burgage plots into cobbler shops and creating shoes, turning the homes into tailor workshops for clothes, or importing goods such as clothes and cloaks rather than creating them yourself. Now, to go from medium town to the final level of large town, you will need to have a total of 30 level 1 burgage plots, 20 level 2 burgage plots, and 15 level 3 burgage plots. Once again, you just have to keep doing what you're doing. Keep a close eye on food and fuel supply, and keep everyone somewhat happy until you're able to upgrade all the plots required. The best way we have found to keep up is to take things very slowly. Stockpile on food and fuel before bringing in new townsfolk. Build as many different industry buildings as possible to get a good stock flow going, and ensure that you have as much money as possible for a trade route if necessary. The best way to stockpile some cash is by building a trading post and getting a massive amount of a singular item, whether that be shoes made by a cobbler shop or war bows, even leather. Just get a bunch of 1 item and keep that item flowing and export it for extra cash. This way, you don't need to expend several resources you might need, and you have a steady income to use for whatever you might need in the future with a trade route. That's going to do it for this guide on how to reach the large town level in Manor Lords. For more, head on over to our growing wiki pages, and as always, for all things gaming, stick with IGN.